you beautiful puggy. You beautiful puggy. You gonna tell the humans about the other day? The other day, humans? Daddy took me to the pet store. I went there for a walk on Sunday, and I was really sad because when we went for a walk, it was like 6 a.m. and I got to the pet store and it wasn't open, and none of the humans would let me in, and they wouldn't let me see all the tweets, and I couldn't see any of the puppies. It was really, really sad, and I was upset. And I made Daddy promise me that he would take me back later in the day, and he did. And he got me this cute little penguin. I like this cute little penguin. You also like the tweets that he got me. He got me some new tweets, and they were pretty tasty. Which one are you going to eat? The greenie? Or are you going to eat the marrowbone? You're not sure? We'll show you one of the new tweets in another video later. Because I already have enough tweets, Daddy says, and he's not going to give me another one, he told me. Not until I go out and do some stuff. But first, he needs to shoot a video, he said. Because Buddy Power's not here right now. We're not sure where he went. He might have told me, but I'm not telling Daddy. No, I actually don't know. I just sit in the chair and watch the TV when Daddy's not here. Or sleep upstairs in the bed. But yeah, so anyways, Daddy said he wanted to shoot a video and then he could take me out. So I'm gonna be over here doing my thing. And you guys enjoyed the video, okay? And periodically maybe he'll show you some more of me because I'm cute. But for now, it's supposed to be one of those cod videos, so go look at the cods while I eat my stuff. Okay? Okie day. Good boy, Kaiba. It is one of those card videos. Kaiba is right. In fact, it is specifically Tuesday. And Tuesdays on this channel means one very special kind of card video. So, without further ado, it's time for Dollarama Draws of Destiny! I have 5 packs of Destiny for you guys today. I discovered a new Dollarama recently. After the last car accident, which I told you guys about, I made a decision for myself. I've come to the realization that I just really hate being on crowded streets. And when I mean crowded streets, I don't mean like, it's rush hour and there's problems. I mean like, there are some like major roads and 2-lane roads in the city, plus of course like major highways where you're going to have at all times pretty much traffic on either side of you and stuff like that. And it really makes me paranoid to a certain extent because it triggers my actual like social anxiety. Because I feel crowded on the roads and then I feel trapped in my car, which just makes me more nervous. So I've chosen a new route home from work. It takes me like an extra 10-15 minutes to get home, but it's worth it in the end. And along that route, I found a new Dollarama, and they actually still had some of these. I didn't buy all of them yet. When I get my next pay, I'm hoping to buy what's left if there's still any there. But I did buy like 4 or 5 of those, and then a couple of the new ones too. And so I figured, we'll crack a couple of these and see what they've got, and we'll crack the newer models and just see how everything stands up. I've been asked many times by people why I do this. Is it really worth it financially? And the answer is financially, not really. Every now and again, I pull a card that's worth like $1 or $2, and it balances out the actual like costs of the packs. The best thing I've ever pulled is a Cryptghast from one of these. I have pulled a couple other things that were kind of decent, but the Cryptghast was probably the most expensive card that I've ever pulled. I think it was worth like $8 or $10 at the time that I pulled it, so that was kind of neat. But more often than not, what I'm getting in here more so is extra lands, first off, which is always nice. There's usually at least 1 land per pack. Sometimes there's 2 or 3. And sometimes there is 0. We're also looking for legendaries, because it's always fun to get extra legendaries for our new commander decks. So I have a big box of legendary creatures over here on the side, and I just randomly like to pull some from there every now and again and make a new deck. So it's always nice to have extra ones to feed into there. And with that said, let's get this started. With Corvold and the Noble Thief. Excuse me, still feeling the effects of the accident, so breathing is a little bit difficult, so I might have to take a pause every now and again for an extra breath. Sorry about that, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there. We got 2 treasure tokens out of this, 1 per turn. And then the third thing is to exile 3 cards from the top of target opponent's library, and you can play those cards this turn. That's really cool, because if you exile a land, you can steal one of their lands, and then still play some of the spells too. So that's neat. I like that. That is going to go top. I'm just going to slide these over. And that will be top for sure. It's only 3 in a red to put into play too, so I mean, you're going to get 2 treasure tokens back from it. That's decent. I like that. Acolyte's Reward. 1 in a white instant. Prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn, where X is your devotion to white. If damage is prevented this way, this thing deals that much damage to target creature or player. Interesting. I like that a lot too. That's a huge hit in my opinion. This is what I really like. We're trying to pull stuff that I wouldn't normally see when I play against other people, that I can throw into my decks and make them go, huh, okay. Because that's the way I like to build my decks. I'm not really super competitive per se. I just like to build things that are more fun to play. And that's fun. That is a fun card. Kessig Dire Swine. We're getting a Boar Horror. Interesting. 4 and 2 green for 6/6 with Delirium. If this thing has trample, as long as there are 4 more card types amongst cards in your graveyard. It's not bad. I'm going to mid that one. It's not bad. It's expensive, but you're getting your money's worth, so it's not bad. Timbermaw Larva. 3 and a green for 2/2. Whenever this thing attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each forest you control. Holy snap. That can go top. It's a little expensive to get into play, but if you like start putting +1/+1 counters on that thing, give it trample, that thing's going to be swinging for massive amounts of damage. Plus, it gets +1/+1, so it's not actually going to be so weak as some other cards that only get the +1/+0. Tap to untap target gate. 2/1 for Greenside Watcher. Very specific, but I will still let you go mid because I do have a Gates deck I want to build eventually. Fanatic of the Harrowing. 3 and a black for 2/2. When this thing enters, each player discards a card. If you discarded a card this way, you get to draw, though. So that's not terrible. I'm going to mid it. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to mid it still. Yeah, okay. It's a neat effect. But, I mean, that is kind of expensive for a 2/2, to be honest. I'm probably not going to end up playing it. Lamplight Phoenix, on the other hand, I do need more Phoenixes for the deck I eventually want to build. So, 1 and 2 red for a 3/3, flying. When it dies, you may exile it and collect 4 evidence 4. If you do, return it to the battlefield tapped. Nice. That's not bad. I am not going to oppose you! Okay, interesting. I was really excited for a minute there because I knew it was a legendary, and then I realized it's a Spider-Man legendary, and I'm like, eh. And then I realized it's Craven, and he's decent, so I'm okay with this. His power is equal to the greatest mana value among permanents you control, so he comes in at least as a 3/4. And then he has Vigilance, so I mean, he's not horrific. I do like the fact that you don't have to tap him. But we did go over this recently in a couple videos. Spider-Man has just polluted this with way too many legendaries. And the fact that we recently learned that over 30% of all legendaries are now Universes Beyond feels just kind of icky. Even when I'm pulling the legendaries from Avatar, although I'm so very, very stoked for that set, I'm still like, I know we didn't need to have 3 copies of Sokka, 3 copies of Katara, etc., etc. I know there's 3 books, so that's why they did it that way, and it's got a lot of flavor for that, but yeah. Anyways, 4 and a green for 3/3. Pay a green, sacrifice another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. Interesting. I'm going to mid that. A Gale... Okay, I'm going to get this horribly wrong. Algegariel. Algegariel. That's the best I'm going to get. 3 and a green for a 1/1 with Shroud, and whenever another creature dies, you can put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. So, I mean, that's neat because it can't be targeted. It sucks that I can't target it either, but I'm going to admit it because if it was a lower cost, I might actually put that top. I do like the idea of like putting that into a green-black sacrifice deck. That would be kind of fun. Pyrehound, 3 and a red for a 2/3 trample. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. That's worth putting up top. Shieldhide Dragon, 5 and a white for a dragon that has Flying, Lifelink, Megamorph, 5 and 2 white. You can cast this card face down as a 2/2 for 3, then turn it face up for its Megamorph cost and put a +1/+1 counter on it. So for an extra white and an extra turn, you get a +1/+1 counter on it. If this thing is turn face up, put a +1/+1 counter on each dragon creature you control, though. That's pretty sick. That might actually go in my 5-color dragon deck. See, this is what I mean. Like, that's a cool dragon. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody play that against me. And I'm kind of keen to play that. So that's going top. That's good. Leyline Phantom, 4 and a blue for 5/5. It deals combat damage. Return it to its owner's hand. I think I'm going to bottom that. That's the first one I'm going to say is bad. No. You go over here. Bad card. I don't really want you to keep coming back to my hand and having to pay 4 and a blue every time to put you into play. You don't even have haste, so yeah, no. Counter target non-creature spell, negate. I like this version of the artwork on negate. That's a beautiful artwork. Hopefully I'm not like holding these too far off camera every time. I apologize if I am. I'm getting used to using this new phone still. And Giant Dust Wasp. 3 and 2 green for 3/3 with flying and suspend 4. Suspend 4 at 1 and a green. So if you pay 1 and a green, it has to go into exile for 4 turns, which isn't bad. I'm going to admit that. I'm going to put the negate at the top, of course, because negate's always good to have an extra copy of. Having fun? Doing good with your treats? Yeah. Seems like you're eating your treats. Seems like you're having a good time. Yeah. I know. I'll get you out there as soon as we're done on the video, okay? And when we come back, we'll see if I film another thing, or if I make food, or maybe he'll be back by then. I have no idea where he went, and why. So, who knows? Could be another thing for his birthday, for all I know. Just adjusting, making sure everything's on camera. Okay, pack number 2 coming at you. Yes, baby, you're a good baby. I like the older packs to a certain extent because they have some older and more random cards, whereas the newer packs seem to often have more stuff that's recent. Like, I haven't seen any Avatar cards yet in these, but Spider-Man came out like within 2 or 3 weeks of Spider-Man set being released. They were in this stuff. So that to me is kind of insane. Ooh, we got a Rakdos Guildgate to start us off. First land of the day. And it's not a bad one. I know it enters tapped. But I mean, I really like the artwork on this. And I am going to build a Guildgates deck eventually. I have a really good idea for how I'm going to do it too. So I'm happy with that. Vraska's Conquistador. 1 and a black for a 2/1. Whenever this thing attacks or blocks, if you control Vraska Planeswalker, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Interesting. The only Vraska Planeswalker I think I have is a Phyrexian one. I'm not putting that in my Phyrexian deck for that, just to gain the life and lose a life. So, unfortunately, you're going to go down here, because you're not useful until I find a Vraska. Evolving Wilds. There we go. We're up to 2 lands again for the day, which is good. Always nice to have extra copies of Evolving Wilds, and that one's got some nice artwork on it. I like that one, actually. Not sure what set that is, but nice artwork. Glimmering Barn. I'm not a huge fan of this one, because you have to sacrifice a token to give it +2/+2, and it only lasts until end of turn. So I'm going to bottom that. I've got several copies of it. I've never used it in any deck yet. 1 and a green for a 2/2 Vigilant Elf. I'm going to say that's good. Definitely will go well in my elf deck, one of the two. Champion of Wits, 2 and a blue for 2/1. Whenever this thing enters the battlefield, you may draw cards equal to its power. And if you do, you discard 2 cards. You can also eternalize it, and then it comes in as a copy of itself, except it's a token that's a 4/4 black zombie. So then you would draw 4 and discard 2, which is interesting. But that costs 5 and 2 blue to make happen, so that's pretty expensive. I'm going to mid you. Nessian Courser. 2 and a green for 3/3 with just some vanilla text on it, or with some flavor text on it. Kestis the Adamant, the champion's closest ally among the centaurs, took 1 stone to his shoulder and another to his flank. He held his stride in his aim and let fly the arrow that killed the giant Grinfax. Interesting. I'm going to mid you, just because the flavor was interesting. Utter Insignificance. 1 and a blue. Flash, enchanted creature loses all abilities and has base power toughness 1/1. Pay 2 and colorless to exile enchanted creature. Interesting. I like that. Gives me an option for still clearing the creature if somebody tries to eliminate the enchantment. Seized from slumber 4 and a blue, 4 and a blue. 4 and a white. Costs 3 less to cast though if it targets a tapped creature, destroy the target creature. Yeah, I'm gonna mid you. You're useful, but meh. Not my favorite. Nightshade Dryad, on the other hand, could become a favorite of mine. 1 and a green for a 1/2, Death Touch, tap to add colorless, or tap to add 1 mana of any color. Heck yes, I like this. I like this a lot. If I don't use the mana, I can keep it up as a blocker, and if I use the mana, then whatever. Ceremonial Groundbreaker. 1 green and white. Equip creature gets +2/+1 and has trample. Equip 1 to a citizen, otherwise equip 3. I mean, it's not horrible. I'm going to admit it. Merfolk Falconer. Flying 4/4 for 3 and 2 blue, and whenever you cast a kick spell, scry 2. I'm going to bottom you, because although scrying is good, I don't really have a lot of decks that focus on kicking. And I don't know if I have enough cards that focus on kicking to build an actual deck out of them. So either way, not a huge help there. Kami's Flare. 1 and a red for instant that deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Then it also deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller if I have a modified creature. Interesting. I like that. I'm going to top that. Gremlin Infestation. 3 and a red, enchant artifact. At the beginning of your end step, Gremlin Infestation deals 2 damage to the enchanted artifact's controller. When enchanted artifact is put into a graveyard, create a 2/2 red gremlin creature token. I like it. It's a little expensive, so I'm going to mid it, but I like it. Ooh, and we got a Radiant Grove. See? This is what I'm talking about. That's a great land, guys. I know it comes into play tapped, don't get me wrong, but it's a searchable one, which is pretty cool. So, Evolving Wilds can get that, for example. Actually, no, Evolving Wilds can only get basic, but things that can search for a forest can get me that. And then I can get forest and plains out of it. So it's not terrible. And there's ways to make that come into play untapped if you know how to do it. Right? And you hit the right card. Oops, shoot, that just exploded. The baby's gone to sleep behind me. I think he's a little sad. I took him in the backyard for a bit and we played some, but I wanted to do this real quick first before we went for an actual WALK properly, just in case. And it also gives me a chance to recover from work. 3 and a white for a 2/2 flying, and when it dies, bolster 2. Choose a creature with the least toughness among creatures you control and put 2+1/+1 counters on it. It's expensive to put in play, but I kind of like it, so I'm going to mid it. Blossoming Sands. Enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters, you gain 1 life. Green or white. Sure. Watchful Watchful Automaton. Sorry, I was rubbing my eye. 3 for 2/2 with 2 and a blue to scry 1. That's pretty expensive to scry. I'm gonna admit it, because scrying is still good, but that's an expensive artifact to make scry with. 1 green for a 1/1 hexproof elf scout. Same reason why I put the other one up there. It's a decent card. Even though I have enough enough copies of that one for both my elf decks, but I mean I can still use that in any mono green deck essentially, and as long as you're buffing the stuff, you're gonna do well with it. Vampire Bats. Black for a 0/1 flying. This thing gets +1/+0 until end of turn if you pay black. But you can only do it twice per turn. So you can only make it a 2/1, essentially. I'm gonna admit it just because I like vampire stuff. But honestly, it's pretty much the same thing as a Falconeer. If it were more expensive, it definitely would be going bottom. Raksha's Secret. 2 and a black. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Ooh. It's interesting. It's like a double-edged sword against you and the person you pick on. I'm going to admit it. Ooh, that's pretty. That is very pretty. Fated Conflagration. 1 and 3 red. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If it's your turn, scry 2. Instant speed, so if you can cast it on other people's turns, but I like the mana symbols and everything on that. That's really pretty. That's definitely going top. Welder Automaton. 2 for a 2/1, pay 3 in a red. This thing deals 1 damage to each opponent. That I'm probably never going to use, to be honest. It's too weak in the butt, and the cost to do 1 damage is too little. If I were able to, do that for 1 in a red, it would go mid for sure. Maybe even top. But 3 in a red? That's expensive. That means you could probably do that once, maybe twice per turn tops. We all know this vampire is the worst vampire, at least in my opinion. Probably not actually the worst, but I mean, I really just don't like it. 3/2 with haste for 3 in a red, that's expensive as heck. And when it enters, it really doesn't do anything other than make sure a creature can't block it. So I mean, Okay, we got 2 in the same pack. I probably don't need both up top. I am getting enough copies of that. I could probably put that one mid, to be honest. Boros Elite. 1 white for a 1/1. Whenever this thing and at least 2 other creatures attack, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It's okay. Domestication. 2 and 2 blue. Enchant creature. You control enchanted creature. At the beginning of your end step, if enchanted creature's power is 4 or greater, you have to sacrifice this, though. So as long as you enchant something that's like a 1/1 or 1/2 that has like a really cool ability, and you somehow keep it from being targeted, you probably steal something really significant from people. I'm going to top that. I like it. Vessel of Malignity. Okay, 1 and a black, enchantment, pay 1 and a black, sacrifice, target opponent exiles 2 cards from his or her hand. I'm gonna bottom that, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's a decent ability, I'm not saying it's not, but I hate cards that you have to pay for, they come into play and do absolutely nothing. Essentially, you're paying 2 and 2 black to get the effect. And if you can't do it in 1 turn, chances are somebody's going to blow this up before you actually get around to doing it. I'm not going to play with that nonsense. Anchor to the Ether. 2 and a blue, put target creature on top of its owner's library, scry 1. Unless that's my creature and I'm scrying it to the bottom for some reason, I'm going to say that's probably not worth it either. Ooh, this could be interesting though. It's a Final Fantasy card. Scorpion Sentinel, 1 and a blue for a 1/4. As long as you control 7 or more lands, this thing has +3/+0. I'm not going to say that's bad. At least you have a decent defender when you put it into play. I'm going to admit it. I like it. Oh, I know. You're a good baby. You're a superstar. Yes, you're a superstar. I know. Oh, my boy. 2 more packs and then I'm done for now. Okay? Good boy. Yes. Alright, just want to see if I can get that cord out of this shot. There we go. Okay. I'm noticing the newer packs also seem to have more of the newer sets. I think I said that earlier, but just in case I neglected it. I did say that earlier. I like this card. I have a couple copies of it, but I still like it. It's a decent one. 2 and 2 red, flying. You can pay red up to 4 times or more, but once you do, you have to sacrifice this. And every time you pay red, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Essentially, if you attack and it doesn't get blocked, then you could, in theory, pay a whole bunch of red, especially in this new firebending mechanic. Like, you're getting a whole bunch of red when you attack anyways, so you could use all that red to pay this thing, buff it, and then, yeah, you're going to have to sacrifice it at the end of turn, but still a decent card. That is a new land for me. That's a cool looking land. Ooh, it's our first old school hit of the day. It actually counts. For new people, I am always looking for cards that were printed anytime before 2000, and this is a 93 to 99. Hickory Woodlot comes into play tapped with depletion 2 counter with 2 depletion counters on it. Sorry. Tap, remove a depletion counter from this thing. Add 2 green mana to your mana pool. If there are no depletion counters on this thing, you have to sacrifice it. Interesting. I wonder if you can proliferate depletion counters. If you can, I know what deck I want to put this into. And it's pretty cool, and I bet this is a land that might be worth a bit of change. I'm going to put that there, and we're going to... Actually, I'm going to put that right beside here. We're going to put the other lands there. So we can all look at that pretty one, because I think that might be the hit of the day for finance-wise, at least. Grasp of Darkness, 2 black. For target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn at instant speed. I do like that. Somehow you ended up upside down. Augmenting Automaton. 1 for a 1/1 with 1 and a black. To give this +1/+1 until end of turn. That one's decent. I'm gonna mid that one. I could even possibly top that one, to be honest, but I'm gonna mid it for now. Giant Scorpion, on the other hand, 2 and a black for 1/3 with Death Touch. That's definitely going top. Decent, but you got the Death Touch, which I love. The expense isn't too terrible. I think that's a reasonable choice. Plus, its sting hurts, but death is strangely painless. I like the flavor text, so that definitely boosts it. This crab, on the other hand, is an ancient crab for 1 and 2 blue for a 1/5. The banks of the Luxa River attract all manner of predator, but only the most resilient of prey. I'm going to mid you because you have cool flavor text in your 1/5, which is decent. Court of Ire! There's a hit too. That's actually a really good card. When this thing enters the battlefield, you become the monarch at the beginning of your upkeep. If you're the monarch, you get to deal 7 damage instead, but otherwise you deal 2 damage to any target. I love this card, and I only had maybe 1 copy in my Lord of the Rings deck. I don't think I have a second copy of this, so... Pretty stoked with that pull. I'm going to put that up here with the land, because I think that's a... I'm going to move these lands over here. These are definitely what I'm going to call the hits of the day. And I think that is the second hit of the day for sure. Okay, somehow a bunch of these are upside down. I did not flip these well. Ashmouth Hound. 1 and a red for a 2/1. When this thing blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, this thing deals 1 damage to that creature. You have a weak butt. You're going mid. And you're lucky I put you there. Blossom Dryad. 2 and a green for a 2/2. When you tap it, you can untap target land. I kind of like that. I'm going to top that. You know, Essence Scatter. 1 and a blue for counter target creature spell. Instant speed? Heck yes, why not? We'll top it. It's very specific. I would almost mid that because of that reason, but I do like the artwork on it first, and the holo is making all the cards fall over. That holo actually should go over here with the hits too. I think that's a really good card. Maybe it won't be the financial hit, but I think that's a pretty good card. Saiba or Saba? I'm going to go with Saiba. Trespassers. 4 and a blue for a 3/5. Artifact creature, move folk ninja. That's a freaking mouthful. Channel 3 and a blue. Discard this thing. Tap 2, up to 2 target creatures you don't control. Those creatures don't untap during your controller's next untap steps. I like it. It's definitely going to go in my ninja deck. And I mean, it's a really decent card for all the stuff that it has on it. Geode Golem. 5 for a 5/3 with trample. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may cast your commander from the command zone without paying its mana cost. That has got to be worth some change too, depending on whether you put in the right deck or not, I would think. Like, that's at least a really cool effect. I'm putting that up there. Why not? These are definitely the best ones, I think, of the day. Is there anything else in here that I should have put up there? I suppose we could put that one there too. That was a pretty good one. Aside from that, though, I don't think there's anything crazy in here that I want to put over there. No. Those are the best ones, I think, of the day, for sure. Thunderdrake, 3 and a blue for 2/3 with flying. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you can put a +1/+1 counter on Thunderdrake. Decent. I'm going to top it. What the hell? Swiftwater Cliffs. Nice land. Lands are over here now. Oop, you okay? Bless you. Bless you. Containment Membrane. 2 and a blue. Surge Blue. Oh my goodness. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Surge, you may cast this spell for its surge cost if you or a teammate has cast another spell this turn. Interesting. I like that. Play a 1 mana spell and then you can cast that for just 1 blue. Are you okay? Do you need some help? That's a lot of sneezes. That's a lot of sneezes. I know, I'm almost done. This is the last one. Yes, I gotta get you more water too. I didn't realize you had finished your water bowl. Okay, first off we gotta do that, and then we're gonna go through and flip these. Hopefully do a little bit better job this time. Wow, that's a lot that we're upside down. Okay, here we go. Ooh, Quicksilver Fisher. I like the art style of it, so it's going to probably go mid just for that. But let's see. 3 and 2 blue for 4/3 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. I'm going to mid it just for the reasoning of the artwork is insanely cool. It is decent enough. I would prefer it was a 3/4 over a 4/3, to be perfectly honest. But it's still mid-worthy, for sure. Wildwood Geist. 4 and a green for 3/3. It gets +2/+2 as long as it's your turn. So it becomes a 5/5. Bottom. No. Wingcrafter. 1 blue for 1/1 Soulbound. You can pair this with another unpaired creature when either enters the battlefield. And then they remain paired for as long as you control both of them. As long as this thing is paired with another creature, both creatures have flying. Yeah, okay. I'm going to admit that. That's useful, for sure. Desecrated Earth, 4 and a black. Destroy target land as controller discards a card. That seems mean, and it's expensive. But I'm still going to admit it, because I am the kind of person who would play that kind of card, possibly, in the right deck. Swamp. Ooh. Osseous Stick Twister. Dustmourn, 1 and a black. Artifact creature Scarecrow, lifelink, 2/2. Beginning your end step, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent may sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. This thing deals damage equal to its power to each opponent who didn't sacrifice a permanent or discard a card. In this specific way. I kind of like that. I don't know if it's worthy of putting up there, but I really kind of like that. I don't think that you would actually get the lifelink off of that, though. I think lifelink only applies to combat damage. So I don't think you would get lifelink off of the trigger there. If I'm wrong, though, that's kind of neat. If it works the way I would love it to, but... Pyrotechnic Performer. 1 and a red for a 3/2 with Disguise Red. So you can cast it face down for 3 and then pay 1 red to flip it up. It will be a 2/2 creature with Ward 2 when you're face down. Whenever this or another creature you control is turned face up, that creature deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. That's kind of neat. I kind of like that. I don't have a Disguise deck yet, so it's not super useful, so I'll omit it for that reason, but I kind of like that. Rhino's Rampage. 1 red or green, whichever one you want to pay. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It fights target creature an opponent controls. When excess damage is dealt to the creature an opponent controls this way, destroy up to 1 target non-creature artifact with mana value 3 or less. That is a lot for 1 card, and while it is a sorcery, I'm still going to top that. Gaseous Form, 2 and a blue, enchant creature, prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to and dealt by enchanted creature. Nice. That's a good way to negate somebody's big beefy boy. Master of Diversion, 2 and a white. Whenever this thing attacks, tap target creature defending player controls. 2/2. That's decent enough. I'm going to top it. Why not? Another swamp. Cool. Berserk Murlodont. Is this an old skull? No, 2003. Close. 4 and a green for a 3/3. When this thing becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature blocking it. That's interesting. I'm going to admit that. I feel like there's a really cool way to use that. I'm just not sure exactly what I would do to do so. Sibsig Icebreakers. 2 and a black. When it enters the battlefield, each player discards a card. It's a 2/3 zombie. Sure, why not? That feels like something fun to play. Leyline Phantom, we already pulled that. And I said it was terrible, and I still say it's terrible. And finally, Uri Auxiliary. 3 and a white for a 3/3 bird soldier flying. When it enters the battlefield, support 2. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures. So you can't put them on this. So you need to make sure that when you put this into play, you have at least a couple creatures in play. Otherwise, you're not getting that effect. I'm going to admit it for that reason. But I mean, our Destiny was pretty hot today. I'm not going to say we were off by anything. That's for sure. We did get our 1 legendary for the day, so we are still on track for a quota, at least. That was kind of really lucky. I'm going to go back eventually and figure out how many weeks in a row we pulled a legendary, because I can't remember what it is anymore. But I am kind of curious. These, on the other hand, are definitely some really cool cards, especially this land. I really like this land. That is definitely going to go really well in my Atraxa deck, if it works the way I think it does. In the meantime, in between time, Kaiba has abandoned me to go out into the hallway to prepare for his walk. Is that what you want, baby? Does Kaiba want to go for a walk? Eh? Kaiba? Oh, I have to come to you at this point? Okay, note to self. If you unplug the phone while it's charging and you're taking a video, it causes the video to stop. Good to know. As I was saying, hey Kaiba, do you want to go for a walk? Is it time? Should we go for a walk? Yeah? Okay, I gotta get changed. We'll go for a walk. Sound good? Yeah? Good boy. Okay, let me get changed and we'll go for a walk. You want to say bye to the humans? Much love to you all from Kaiba over here, and I to you. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and enjoy your own draws of destiny, if you're so inclined. Okay. Love you. Bye.